Hi there, welcome back. So today we've got some really interesting cool terrain to look at. Some of it I've built. We're going to build all of it in a minute, and then we're going to take a look at it, put it on the tabletop and see how it is. Now this is from Micro Art Studio. This stuff says it's designed for infinity. However, what I would say is that this is really cool for anything 28 to 32 mil scale, something like that. So I'll be using this for Kill Team, I'll be using it for Stargrave. When we get the Blade Runner RPG, I'll be using this stuff. This stuff fits in very cool with that sort of setting. I'll also be using it for my Alien RPG, you know, getting stuff on the tabletop for that. So yeah, lots and lots of really diverse use for it. So we've got two different ranges. We've got the Precinct Sigma and we've got KOKKYO-3. Now they're both the same scale. They are both modular, go together the same way. So they you should be able to use them both in conjunction, but there is definitely some style differences. It's all pre-painted, so I've made some of the Precinct Sigma sheds here, and they all go together nicely, and this should kind of be the theme as we go through it. There was actually some extra bits left over, so you can customize the way it looks, and I'm hoping that this is going to be the same as it is throughout the whole range. So as we'll get some extra parts and we'll be able to really use that to customize it as much as possible. I'm putting this together with Elmer's glue. Any decent white glue will do. If you are in a rush, you could put it together with hot glue. Just, you know, it's possible that it would come apart here and there pretty soon afterwards, but yeah, a good white glue is the best way to go. So let's build some of this stuff and then we're going to take a look. Okay, so let's start with these KOKKYO-3 bridges. So how it works is all of the pieces I've got this sort of protective film over it, which you peel off, which will reveal the print artwork underneath. Right, so let's build these and then we'll take a look. Okay, so there's our first bridge built. It was pretty simple to put together. Obviously this is all white glue, so it does take a while for it to dry, but once it is dried, you know, it will be very sturdy. And this stuff, what I would say as well, is it's the way that it links together. It's not gonna, although see, this is like a void area here. If I try and rotate the corners, that's still really firm in place, so it's not likely to come apart or anything like that. And there were so many different little connection points on here, more in this side, that I'm pretty happy that this is not gonna come apart on me or anything like that. But there you go, that's pretty cool. So you get 3 in this set. I'll put the other 2 together later. But for now, let's move on to something else. Okay, so this looks really cool. KOKKYO-3 Yagura. So again, this is compatible with all of the other KOKKYO-3 stuff. Okay, so this looks like a slightly more challenging build, but at the same time, you know, none of this stuff I believe is going to be that difficult. So let's put that to the test. Okay, so this is the Yagura. I've not assembled it. None of this gets stuck together, so this is all left so it's completely modular. Build time is about 1 hour and 15 minutes. No major problems or anything like that. So what we have is we have 2 sections here, and you can see that on this one there's like a small insert that goes in there which provides some notches so that you can then add on your second building. And that is pretty sturdy. It's not going anywhere. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, so this is the first time we get to see some of this kind of modular parts of the build with other kits. So here's one of the bridges that we built earlier. So that has got similar notches on it, so that we can put these sort of things together. And again, those notches are good enough to make sure that, you know, this stuff, it stays together. So that's cool. So far, we've got the yagura, our 3 bridges, and our 3 sheds. So what else have we got to build? We've got some stairs. That's KOKKYO-3. The only other thing from KOKKYO-3 is the commercial hub. So we'll build those, and then from Precinct Sigma, we have the sentry towers, cubicle, and the Precinct Sigma post. So let's build all these lot, we'll get them on the tabletop and we'll have a good look. Okay, so let's start looking at this terrain. So we'll start with the KOKKYO-3 stuff. I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But this stuff is absolutely beautiful. Really, really excellent looking stuff. I've got a 28mm model here. So you can see that is the scale that it's intended for, 28:30. You could go a little higher though. If you wanted to use this for Necromunda or Kill Team, you could push 32mm on this stuff. Completely modular. So this section comes off. All of these roof sections come off. And the notches that they leave behind are for other pieces of modular terrain, which we'll take another look at in a minute. None of this stuff feels like it's going to go anywhere. So let's get these back on here. So we'll do a little shake test to see how everything hangs on, and that's good. That's not going to happen while you're playing. It's all good. All of the roofing tiles, you know, they're unlikely to come off. They could get nudged off and that, but they're not, you know, there's no design flaw or anything like that. There's not much space for the models behind these roof sections in the middle, but certainly, at least with that 28, could easily get a 30mm behind there as well. And if you want to play it without the roof sections, you absolutely can. So everything is totally modular and can be played independently. Now, some of the grooves that are in the edges here are used in conjunction with other terrain pieces, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Okay, so next up we have the commercial hub. This is a one piece of terrain, a very large piece. So there's nothing on here as well. It's just a commercial hub and its roof. You can see on pre-painted on here with ladders and that kind of thing to get up. In fact, that features on all of the other terrain pieces as well. Yeah, it is a really great kind of nice large piece of kit. But I think what we'll start looking at now is let's start looking at the modular parts of this system. So we have some stairs. You can see that the holes here, they line up with the notches on the edges, and once they are locked in place, they are not going anywhere. So if you get the stairs section, they come in a set of 6. So they fit to all of the terrain for here, Here we have the pieces for the yagura as well, and they fit just as well onto there. So they are very nice, very handy, and they look pretty cool as well. Okay, so next up we have the bridges that we built. That was the first thing that we built. And again, the same way as the stairs, they connect our scenery together. Okay, and as we have seen, once two pieces are connected, it will take quite a lot to pull them apart again. So what we've got is two pieces of scenery and some modular parts. So this is just on the KOKKYO side of things. So let's put a few of these bits together and see what we can make. Okay, so there, in about kind of a minute or so, I built kind of a large sprawling piece of terrain to go on the battlefield. Okay, so again, that's just from two kits and some of the modular stuff to help put it together. Okay, so let's say we want to put another bridge in. Okay, so maybe we ditch this piece and we link it to here. That is done. So let's add another set of steps here. So that's done very quickly. Everything is fully connected. Now the entire large piece of terrain, move it around, and that's it. These sections, which were from the other building, fit modularly into other pieces which might not necessarily take those pieces. So again, this is my commercial hub. And these modular pieces of terrain fit with that in exactly the same way as they did with the yagura. So that is the KOKKYO-3. Now, we're going to move on to the Precinct Sigma for a second. But what I'll tell you is that all of this can be used with the Precinct Sigma as well. There are two different ranges, and I think that this kind of modular system of the notches and the connectivity, I think that's what's different between the two, but they can still be used together. We'll have a look at that in the end. Okay, so this is the Precinct Sigma post. Very, very cool design. Lots of cover and that kind of thing. Looking at the back section, again, we have the painted ladders going up to a small area for snipers and that kind of thing, opportunists. Yeah, everything looks very, very cool. Again, the sort of artwork that appears on these pieces is, you are very, very unlikely to be able to produce this yourself. I know I certainly couldn't, I'd be nowhere near. But that is the Precinct post. And again, just for scale, it's my 28mm guy there. He's a squat, so he's not very tall, so his gun's not sticking over the top. Okay, so next we have the Precinct Sigma cubicles. Now, although these are built identically the same in terms of the shape and all of the dimensions and that kind of thing, identical. However, the print that is on them does vary slightly. So they are not, so you don't end up with two pieces exactly the same. Which is a nice touch really, for them to produce identical kits in terms of, you know, size and structure, but, you know, just have the good sense to print them separately so as we get different artwork on them is great stuff. Again, miniature for scale. So there are, you know, some good cover options here. There is some minor cover along the back. So if for example we're having a battle here and we were up against models that were on here, and there's good cover options under here behind these stairs and that kind of thing. But yeah, so you get 2 of those for that kit. Okay, and the final large piece for Precinct Sigma is the sentry towers. Now this does feature a modular part as well, and we'll get onto that in a minute. But again, this is a large structure, again, painted ladders to get up to your sentry points and that kind of thing. But the modular part on this is that it separates out. And we have this block, which has different notches to the KOKKYO stuff, but fits together in a very similar way. Now, so we can see different kind of cover options and that kind of thing on here as well. So again, very nice terrain. The last thing we look at, and we'll look at in conjunction with this, is that there are some sheds, Precinct Sigma sheds. Basically, they are these. They come in a pack of 3. And so we can use these to extend our terrain. So we can, you know, make this piece much larger. Do something like that. Or we could also use them to maybe change the structure, the way it looks. So we can have the layout. So we can do that in any manner of different ways. So it just adds some different design options to what we've got. Okay, now, so just for an aesthetic option, these sections here, you don't have to glue them. I did, but they wedge in place, so you don't actually have to use any glue. So you can use these to kind of put terrain pieces together or extend what you've already got. So these just, they fit back in like that. So in terms of a battlefield with this stuff, so again, 3 of the larger terrain pieces and some modular stuff, we can have something like that. Stairs coming up the back here and then back up this way. You can remove both of these sections so it fits together. We can, with the sentry points, again, this back section can be removed. So we could have one larger piece, so that you go up there, remove that back section, and up here, remove that back section, we can fill out the space with our sheds. There really are lots and lots of options. We can mix and match sections between the 2 different types. Okay, so this is a Sigma Precinct piece with the KOKKYO stairs. They don't have the notches, but they fit perfectly. They all work together because they're all working on the same scale. Again, Precinct Sigma to KOKKYO. This time with the bridges. Again, same scale, so it works together. So I have to be honest with you, I'd never really considered any pre-printed scenery before or anything like that. Almost all of the scenery I currently own is plastic Warhammer 40k stuff. So I'm really pleased that I was sent this collection by Micro Art Studio, because it did really give me an inkling as to other things that I want to do outside of my Warhammer aspirations. In fact, I'll give you a quick example. So I bought this book a few months ago, Cyberpunk Battle Mats. And it's really cool because you can do lots of kind of small skirmish stuff and that kind of thing on here. So if I was to try and find a kind of suitable battle mat, okay, so we've got some ruined roads here and that kind of thing. So if I was looking to play, I know that I want to run some tabletop alien RPG content, so I could maybe use this setting here and then start adding in some of our terrain, start building up some options to make it more interesting, allow more movement on the tabletop for the miniatures and that kind of thing. With these terrain kits, I now allow myself so many more options than I had before. Previously, I would have played the game on a flat tabletop and just worked on whatever was on here, whereas now I've got the ability to completely change the way or the structure of how I was going to play the game. And I can make so much more interesting choices from what was available before. Okay, so that's my review of the Precinct 13 and KOKKYO-3 scenery sets. I have to say I was really caught off guard by them, to be honest with you. I thought they were excellent. I hadn't really considered buying any pre-painted scenery in the past because I'd always seen the images online and that kind of thing and always thought, yeah, they look nice, but are they going to be that good when I actually get my hands on them? Are they going to look as good on the tabletop and things like that? And I have to say that, yeah, I didn't really have to worry about any of those things. I really enjoyed building this stuff. I think it looks terrific. I love the modular aspect of it, particularly for the KOKKYO-3 stuff. Yeah, I was really impressed, to be honest. Now, I did mention earlier on in the video that I got some extra panels for the sheds from that small pack. I think there was an extra 4 or 5 pieces there, and I wondered if there was going to be any other extras throughout the packs. There wasn't. There was a few little bits here and there, but there wasn't. I guess that just with the sheds, I think they just made use of the extra space which was on the frame that they used, and they decided to fill it with things that we can use instead of just leaving it blank. Now, what I've shown you today is just a few options of the way that the modular parts can be put together. I think that between all of the kits, there's probably hundreds and hundreds of different ways you can do it. So yeah, really impressed that just how much you can utilize this content in different ways. Now, in fact, what you can see here now is just me messing around after I'd finished my recording and, you know, putting together something that I could do just so I could do this voiceover. But yeah, that, you know, this is all something that I put together in, you know, this setting here took, I think, maybe 4 minutes, something like that, to put together. And I could do it 100 times over and it would be completely different every time. So where'd you get this stuff from? So obviously just Google it. There are lots of places that sell it. I think you can buy them direct from Micro Art Studios website. They've got a web shop. If you're in the UK, you can use Element Games. There's a link in the description, which will give me a small kickback, but you can definitely get it from there. I even believe they might have a small discount as well. But certainly, I will be definitely picking up more of this content. I really do like it. It is going to play a really important role for when I start my Blade Runner RPG in a couple of months' time. But that's it, guys, really. Thanks so much for watching. I massively appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this. So subscribe for more, and I'll catch you later.